My name is Lady Vhaera, a humble warrior of ROD. And although I had fought in many wars before, this battlefield felt different. This time, I marched beneath the banners of SBG toward a bloody battle for the Shadow Fortress. As I stepped onto the battlefield, old memories returned to me. I remembered the Scarlet Palace, the brutal wars, the legendary warriors, the losses we could not forget. But those memories no longer filled me with pain. They became the reason I returned. And now, beside my friends in SBG, I stood before the Shadow Fortress once again. A beautiful castle, but one that would soon drown in blood. When I entered the battlefield, I immediately understood this war would become personal. I saw the banners of Anu, and this worried me. Anu was not a normal enemy. It was a gathering of warriors from NB, UTB, and many other powerful alliances united into a single force. And the moment I realized NBE stood among them, I felt the atmosphere change. This was no longer only a battle for the Shadow Fortress. It was a battle for pride, for glory. I respected every warrior standing against me that day. But in war, respect changes nothing. There can only be one victor. And as the armies slowly marched toward each other, the battle was about to begin. I watched as Jackdaws reached the castle first and secured it before Anu could arrive. It was a massive victory for us and gave SBG control of the battlefield's most important position. But I knew the real battle was only beginning. Anu was already preparing rallies. I could see enemy armies gathering from every direction, and I immediately understood what was coming next. Taking the castle had been the easy part. Now, we had to hold it. Hit after hit slammed into the Shadow Fortress, and with every rally that landed, I held my breath. I watched the defenders inside the castle fight desperately to hold against Anu's pressure. But then, disaster struck. Anu forced SBG out of the Shadow Fortress. The moment their banners rose above the castle walls, my heart sank. I knew taking it back would not be easy, but giving up was never an option. So, I began setting rallies. Again and again. Every attack became more desperate than the last, as I tried to break Anu's control over the fortress. The battlefield had turned into chaos, but slowly, I could feel the pressure building against them. Little by little, Anu started losing ground, and then SBG kicked them out. For a brief moment, I felt the hope return. But there was no time to celebrate. Anu secured the castle again. Immediately, that was when I realized first place had already been slipped away from us. But I was not done fighting. Jackdaws still had a chance to secure second place. But time was running out. And as I looked toward the Shadow Fortress one final time, I understood the truth. This was it. One final assault. One last chance. Alakazam of Anu had already been holding the Shadow Fortress for 7 minutes, but so had Jackdaws. And with only 10 minutes left on the battlefield, I knew this was our final chance. This was our chance to prove who we were, to prove that SBG would not fall quietly beneath the banners of Anu. One final wave of rallies had been set. One final assault on the Shadow Fortress. One final chance for glory. As the rallies marched toward the castle, I could feel my heart pounding inside my chest. Every second felt heavier than the last. Every mistake could end the battle. And then, the final hit landed. For a moment, everything went silent. Then I saw it. Jackdaws had broken through. He took the Shadow Fortress, and somehow, he held it long enough to overtake Alakazam. At that moment, relief washed over me. Not because we had won the fortress, but because, after everything, we had refused to break. And against all odds, SBG had secured second place. As the battlefield finally grew quiet, I looked toward the Shadow Fortress one last time. The banners of Anu still flew above parts of the battlefield. They had taken first place. But strangely, I did not feel defeated, because this battle had become about more than rankings, more than points, more than the fortress itself. I remembered the Scarlet Palace, the losses, the warriors we could not save. And for a moment, I realized how far we had come since those days. We had stood against one of the strongest forces on the battlefield, a gathering of warriors from NBE, UTB, and many other powerful alliances. And still, we endured. Still, we fought until the very end. Jackdaws had secured second place, and as I looked across the battlefield covered in fire and fallen armies, I understood something important. Victory is not always measured by the crown you claim. Sometimes it is measured by the moment you refuse to fall.